Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. We are playing Planet Zoo, but this time I will be doing a voiceover on today's episode. I sped things up and I will be showing you how we've modernized our zoo. So far, our zoo looks very plain and basic, so this video will show how we changed that. Anyways, let's get straight into it and waste no time on part 2 of our renovations. This right here is what our complex looks like before we start doing our changes. We are going to take away several buildings and condense them all into one, make it look more natural, make it look a little bit less cramped and messy. So as you can see here, we are adding in a larger staff room, a larger keeper's hut, and we're adding in a regular veterinarian's office. This building's mostly symmetrical. We're adding in things from the New World to make it more modern. We're going to finish the outside with a nice wooden look to it. We're going to add a nice metal roof to it. And we're going to add some decorations to it. It took me a little while to figure out what I wanted to do here, but essentially I kind of got into what I wanted to go for. I started off with the pillars first and realized, like, why the heck am I doing this? Why am I not doing something like adding the roof next? So then you see me doing the roof as I was just fooling around for like the past 3 minutes. No, it wasn't 3 minutes, I'm just joking. Very bad jokes. That's what I'm full of, is bad jokes. Once we finish the roof, once we finish the walls, everything's looking great. Now we just have to add some decorations to make it not look so plain. Otherwise that would kind of defeat the purpose. But we end up adding some wooden beams. I don't know what they're really called, but they're like these canopy things where you could like have vines crawl up them and stuff, which I forgot to do, by the way. I was thinking about doing that. But obviously we added in some more decorations and whatnot to kind of give the building more of a finished look to it and making it more inviting. But I end up adding some power outlets, air conditioning unit, just to add some more realistic decoration to the building, making it look like it has a function to it. Took me a while to figure out how to find the right bracket signs for our utility signs, so it makes it more look like a staffing complex. So we have our vet's office, we have our, all our lovely signs for all the functions of the place. And this is where we get into the fun stuff, is deleting the buildings that we just replaced, fixing up the path, keeping some of the buildings that we're going to utilize still, just because why not. And one issue that we did have is we had the negativity effect kind of hanging over on the plaza a little bit by the shops there. Very little minor detail, but we just ended up moving the path a little bit further back to fix that. And then we line up our nice little complex there so our people can enjoy it. We add a little bit of plants, because why don't we add plants, make everything look green. It is a zoo after all. And then another thing here is that we move our utilities, so everything else is a little bit more organized. Everything lines up a little bit better. Not everything is scattered. Whether or not I redo some of the other areas, I'm not sure yet. I'll have to figure that out later. But everything looks pretty good from there. So that's one building, and we're doing 3 today. This next building is going over our pedestrian walkways, over our little lookout observatory area, and this is one thing that I feel like needed to be done. So we're going to add a nice glass roof to it, add basically some sort of shelter for our people. So say if it did rain, although it doesn't in the beta, but if it did rain, they have, some sort of protection. And we also have a nice modern glass lookout area. Now, one issue that we did run into here is having to fix it for the barrier purposes. So for our barriers for our habitat, we end up having to delete some of the brick wall, so I do pause it, and I end up using a steel mesh on the outside. And with the steel mesh, it kind of lined up with the building but didn't like go through the building. And the reason why I did this was because my pathways would interfere with part of the building, considering I lined up the building with the pathways as much as I could. But in the end, it still looked like it worked out well. It didn't look out of place, because at some zoos you do find that, because otherwise animals can hide right up against the building. And right here I end up changing the path decoration, and I do this because you need to add some sort of variation to it. And I also end up boxing it in the inner part of this building. Now we end up fixing the little entrance to our building, adding some nice pillars to have a better transition into our entrances and into our walls, make it look more natural, and obviously make it look better. And then obviously I have to fix up this part so it actually looks like the little canopies are being connected to something. So I end up doing that, and what I'll do is I'll end up adding some decorations of zebra patterns and zebra heads to make it more inviting to a more of a savanna area. And obviously I go through some research because I'm multitasking in this. Or task switching is what they like to say in psychology. I don't know if they like to say that in psychology, but it is one thing that they do talk about. So this is where I add up my zebra patterns. I try to figure out what looks best to make it look nicer. And essentially it's just a zebra head in between the two banners, and that's it. Or at least that's it for this building. This next building is going to consist of an ATM along with our bathroom stall, because what I realized is that people need to use the ATM, so they donate more, which money is not an issue, but also that people need to go to the bathroom, and the only way they can do it is by going to the front of the park. Now I kind of do a little bit of an experimentation here, trying to figure out what walls work best. So what I end up doing is trying to figure out the shape. I end up just wanting to go with more of a box shape. And what I do is I use metal for this on the sides, and we use wood for the front and back. We make it look like it's a little bit more off-centered. And here you can see that I'm going to take a lot of time struggling, trying to figure out, how to get the roof actually lined up with the wall without it being complicated. But I am switching the sides for one main reason. And that one main reason is because we have that staff pathway in the back, which is going to come up against the building up to the pathway right there. So it's easier access for some of our staff members, such as our janitors, which are actually just called caretakers now, I think. So it gives them a little bit of an easier access, of course, because it lines right up with our staff buildings back here, instead of having to go all the way around through the front entrance there. Now we finally get to finish out the pathway as I figure out how to match it up with the land properly. We actually enclose it in a glass box. I felt like it looked nice. You guys need to leave me some suggestions on how you think I've been doing so far. And I forgot to mention that we did raise the land with the habitat properly. Right there, as you can see. I did my best with it. I really tried. I really tried. It was a little bit funky. So I'm still trying to learn out how to do it, add some decorations, add the utility signs, and that's about it for this area. Leave me a comment down below on which one was your favorite building. Let me know if you like this type of video, and be sure to give me a thumbs up if you want to help support the channel. I would highly appreciate it. Subscribe for more content, stay up to date, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.